This means so much to me that I came all the way from Sweden. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't make it because she has one of the most important jobs in the world. She teaches kids with special needs, and she couldn't leave Sweden to be here today. So I'd like to just share 3 stories about how Forest Hills changed my life. Story number 1, I hated 4th grade. So I had a teacher who I thought hated me because I talked too much in class. So that made me feel like a bad kid. That made me feel dumb. And made me hate school. But then the good news was we moved from Illinois to Cincinnati in 1979, and I got a new start. And we moved to Forest Hills, and I went to 5th grade at Wilson Elementary. And there, my teacher was a man named Mr. Burns. And Mr. Burns realized that I wasn't a bad kid and I wasn't dumb. Quite the opposite. He realized that I was gifted and I just needed to be challenged in different ways. So Mr. Burns, because he cared, he changed my life. And he gave me a new relationship with school and everything else. So one great thing today is that I'm glad to say that Mr. Burns is here. So you can notice how much So story number 2. So in high school, I was good academically, but I wanted to be an athlete. But I'm below average in athletic ability. So I couldn't make the teams like basketball and baseball that had cuts. But football's so big, they don't cut kids. So football was my thing, right? So that was the one sport I could be on. So within football, I found a niche, a position that I could play because I didn't have to be particularly fast or big, but I could hustle my way there. So it was middle linebacker on the defense. And Coach Bob Berta, the football coach at the time, was kind enough to let me have a shot there. And I ended up hustling my way to success. I started 2 years. I earned the Rookie of the Year, the Linebacker Award, which I think he made up just for me. And also our team, more importantly, our team was the first Turpin team to crack the top 10. And our defense is still number 4 all time in Turpin history. So Coach Bird had a huge impact on my life because that experience taught me that I could do things that I didn't think possible, that I had a right to bat out of my league and try things that were too big for me. And that has served me for my whole life in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere. So Bob Berta had a huge impact on me, changed my life in a good way. And I'm glad to say that he's here today as well, so he knows. So the third story, Turpin High School, the social studies department, of which Coach Berta was a member, really inspired me to find my calling in government and public service. And they even sent me to a leadership program called Buckeye Boys State. So fast forward about 3 months after I left Turpin, I'm in Washington, D.C. in college, and I'm volunteering with the great Senator Bob Dole. Fast forward about 3 years after Turpin, and I was an intern at the Central Intelligence Agency, shaking President George H.W. Bush's hand in CIA headquarters. Fast forward about 8 years after Turpin, and I had some political experience on my own. I was elected as the student body president of Ivy League University grad students, representing about 10,000 students in that experience. And then fast forward about 25 years after Turpin, I was the COO of a government agency with just one person between me and the President of the United States in the organization. So I think back, Turpin did a great job of giving me a sense of calling and set me up well for that. So I wanted to thank all the Turpin teachers, Mr. Dever, Mr. Eisenhart, Coach Berta, Mr. Poe, Mr. Huber, rest his soul, and others, Mr. Dever, and others out there for that. So thank you very much. And then I think finally the biggest thing at Turpin is beyond the school and all that, it just gave me a space to grow up because I was a teenage boy. My job is kind of to learn by making mistakes. And thankfully, the school system sets it up so there's guardrails that we never get in too much trouble and that kind of stuff. And the secret to that is it's the administrators, the teachers, all the people who work at Forest Hills, you are literally the adults in the room. And because of what you do, every day your job can seem thankless, that, ideally if you do such a great job, no one notices you're there. But every day I assure you that you're making a difference in kids' lives, even when it doesn't seem like it. And maybe every once in a while someone comes back 30 years later to tell you about what you did for them. But for every time someone like us comes up here, there's countless others who you've helped and had an impact on and would tell you the same thing. So thank you very much for letting me be here to share that, and go Spartans.